In this episode, we focus on rapidly evolving data ecosystem and Microsoft unified analytics platform, Fabric. How does Fabric fit into today's data landscape? Why should companies consider adopting it? And what does its future looks like? What exactly is One Lake? And how does Fabric simplify governance, compliance, and integration with your existing on-premise systems? My today's guest is Lars Andersen, Senior Program Manager at Microsoft and the biggest expert on Fabric in Europe. Lars, welcome to the show.
Thank you.
Lars, what's your perspective on the current state of enterprise data ecosystems?
Yeah, so I think most companies today, they know that data is an asset that they need to take care of and they need to use. So that's what we see with many customers today, and it has changed a lot over the past 5 to 10 years. So every serious business today, I would say, they need to know what data they have and how they can actually create valuable insights out of it instead of just relying on their gut feeling when making decisions.
If we look closely on the key trends and key challenges, what would you name?
On the key trends, that's a good question. I think that for especially smaller organizations, starting with large data projects can be a big thing and something that they cannot overcome. So I think most organizations would like to start with smaller projects and then build up something that they can create value out of fast and easy, and then they grow that platform and maybe become bigger and enterprise-wide. Of course, the trends that we see today with all the emerging AI capabilities, that's also what we very much see in the data space. So for Microsoft, we have our co-pilots, and they also exist in our data products, and that is a big interest for customers, how they can utilize that. And it's also a very large investment for Microsoft that we want to make sure that you can get the AI agents and get the data out to consumers in a good and safe way.
Most subject matter experts say that for the real application of AI, you need what is called AI-ready data. Do you think the companies have the data ready for AI, or is there a long journey in front of them?
I think it's still early days. That's my personal opinion. It's still early days for many organizations, because probably no matter the size of your organization today, you have some data estate that you report on in a BI tool. And when you build that maybe 2, 3, 5, or 10 years ago, you didn't think about that this should be ready for AI consumption. So even though that AI can actually get some value out of the data that you already have, then in many cases you still need to also mature that data so it's actually ready for being consumed by AI. So some organizations have started this journey, but it's not enterprise-wide. It's smaller projects and maybe on a POC state in most cases.
What could be the role Fabric can play on that journey?
Yeah, so the Fabric is the data platform offering for the future for Microsoft. And the benefit you get with Fabric is that it's first of all, it's what we call a software as a service solution. So you don't need to configure a lot of things. You just sign up and get a capacity, and then you're basically ready to go. And no matter if you would like to do some let's say normal SQL that you have been doing for probably many years, or you want to do the Spark notebooks with Python, or you want to do Power BI semantic models, everything is in Fabric. And once you have the data in Fabric, then data is stored in what we call One Lake. So as the name says, we have one copy of the data that you can use across all the workloads. And that is where Fabric brings a huge benefit to most organizations. So you don't need to worry about, I need to use this data for some of my data scientists who would like to do some machine learning algorithms on top of my data. I want to use this for consumption of my Power BI reports, or I want to have some of my SQL developers. Everything is there, and they can work on the same data no matter what type of work they need to do. And some of the newer stuff that we have in Fabric is our real-time intelligence capabilities, which we also see a lot of organizations have a lot of interest in, because many organizations today are not driven by schedule. So in the old days of data warehouse, we were loading our data warehouse maybe during the night, and then at 8 o'clock in the morning, you had your reports ready with new data. And that's still the way many organizations probably operate their warehouse. Some do load of their data on a regular basis throughout the day, but in many cases, you're actually more event-driven. So if you are in retail, then if there's a big event happening this Saturday, well, then you would like to be able to react on that and get the insights when that is actually happening. You don't have to wait until the nightly load. So that is where we see a number of great use cases come to life, and a lot of organizations are starting investment in projects related to real time.
You mentioned OneLake as a key component of Fabric ecosystem.
Yeah.
Can we stay with that component a little bit longer? Can you explain in more detail what OneLake stands for and how does it support this whole ecosystem? Yes.
So with OneLake, that is kind of one of the foundations of Fabric. So what we if you talk to businesses today that have selected maybe a platform from Microsoft, maybe a platform from a competitor, then in a lot of cases you will have different solutions for different purposes. And then whenever you need to get the final result, then you need to do some integration, because if you have a CRM system, if you have your ERP system, if you have your warehousing system and whatever, you need to integrate all that data. And if you have different reporting solutions, that's just a lot of work integrating it instead of actually getting value out of data. So the whole concept with Fabric, the whole idea that we build Fabric upon is saying, well, we don't want you as an organization to spend the majority of your resources integrating data, because that is, of course, it is generating value, but it's not generating immediate value. So what we want to do with OneLake is that you can basically dump all your data in OneLake, and then you can, as I said, consume it where you want. And the concept of OneLake is like a virtual thing, because when you go into to Fabric in a browser, then you really don't see OneLake. So under the covers, that is actually Azure storage accounts that we spin up for you. But you don't have to worry about if you need one storage account, if you need two, or if you need 300. OneLake is just available to you. And if you are more into the enterprise development using some of the APIs, then because we are building on top of existing Azure components, then you can use all the APIs that you can use for Azure Data Lake Storage Gen 2. So you can dump all the data. It could be structured data, unstructured data, it could be images, it can be everything, and then you can consume it where you want to within Fabric.
Based on your experience, is this easy to understand for the large enterprises how OneLake works?
I think it needs, of course, a little explanation, especially if you come from a SQL Server platform where everything is stored in a proprietary format, and you have to query all the data through the SQL engine or another database engine. In that case, you need to explain how that actually works. But a lot of organizations today have adopted some kind of lakehouse architecture, something like that, where they are used to having data sitting in a raw format and in a staging area or in a bronze layer or whatever we want to call it, and then they mature that data in different stages. And it is the whole thing about Fabric being a software as a service that is very different from other Azure services, which is platform as a service, where you have a lot of different things you need to configure. With Fabric, you don't have to worry about all the infrastructure under the covers. We manage that for you, and then you just put your data in and get the value out of it that you need. So the short answer is, of course, it depends how much you need to explain it. But once organizations actually get the idea of OneLake, they can really see the value. Also because OneLake is not only for Fabric. So if you have your some other system that needs to use some storage, as I said, you can use APIs to write to OneLake, and then you can consume it. And we also have this concept of shortcuts. So if you have data sitting in either existing Azure storage or in storage in AWS or in Google Cloud, then you can actually shortcut to that data. So you can use it inside of Fabric without having to move it and without having to go through all your transformations again. And another thing related to OneLake is this concept we call mirroring. And mirroring is a feature where you can mirror, you can copy data from a database into OneLake. And we support a number of databases today. Two of them are Snowflake. So if you are a Snowflake customer and you would like to utilize the Snowflake data in Fabric, then you can set up mirroring, and then the mirroring will take care of all the changes that is happening in Snowflake is automatically replicated into to OneLake. And the same works for Azure SQL databases, and we have more coming, and also on-premises databases.
Fabric's been here with us for almost 2 years, I guess. It's still young technology. What are from your perspective, the most important upcoming developments or upgrades or new features that are in front of us regarding Fabric?
Yeah, so it is true. Fabric is a young product as a new solution. We have been general available, so production ready with Fabric for about 18 months. And there are still some things that needs to mature. And the only way we can actually mature a software product today is having businesses use it. So we get the feedback and know how we need to make changes and improvements. Since Fabric is a very big platform, there are a lot of different services. It's hard to say that one thing where we need to improve. I would say if we talk about enterprise and large developments, then we have made a lot of progress in the CI/CD, the DevOps space. We still need to make some more improvements there, and we have more coming. And so from an enterprise perspective, that's probably the biggest improvement we need to make. In general, if you just look at Fabric, I mean, the basics of Fabric work, and that's also why we have declared it general available. So we do support it, and we do have SLAs and so on. There will always be some things where you, as an organization, can find something that needs to mature. But it's also, how should I put it? It's most organizations today, if you go all in on Fabric, then you get all the benefits of Fabric from day one. But if you have moved like small projects into Fabric and still have something running in other parts of solutions, then some organizations see that as a problem, because then their existing environment is running in one setup, and the newer ones are running in Fabric, and that can be a challenge. So, for instance, coming back to OneLake again, we have we have announced that we have this feature we call one-leg security, where you actually apply security on the one-leg layer. So no matter which engine you put on top of one leg, we will respect the security. So that could be column-based security or row-level security, which is a great feature, and that's something a lot of organizations has asked for a long time. And we actually talked about this when we announced Fabric back in May, 2 years ago. The thing with this one-leg security is that when you want to use it, then you need to use all the Fabric features. So if you, for instance, are using imported Power BI models today, then one-leg security won't apply because that is not using the built-in one-leg direct leg connectivity, and that can be challenges, I would say, because you may think that, oh, now Microsoft's come with this great security concept, it just applies to everything we're working with, but you also need to read the fine print so you know what is actually covered and what is not covered.
On the other hand, there is a strong community built already around Fabric, right? Across Europe, across North America.
Yeah, yes.
What are, for example, some hidden features or overlooked capabilities in Fabric that the companies do not pay attention so much as they should do?
Oh, that's a good question as well. As I mentioned before, our real-time capabilities is the newest workload in Fabric. Well, that's actually not true. I'll come back to that. But if companies, they would really look into what they can get out of the real-time capabilities, I think a lot of organizations would benefit from that. But it is a new way of working, especially if you're used to doing this batch operations on daily basis or hourly basis. And there are a lot of different features in Fabric that can be easy to overlook because every time we have a big event, we have a significant amount of announcements, which can be overwhelming and hard to follow what is coming and what have we released, what is new, what is old. One of the new things that I think a lot of organizations really should consider once they start moving data into Fabric, either using shortcut mirroring or actually loading data into Fabric, is this feature we call data agents. And it's a preview feature. It has been out for more than 6 months at the Fabric Community Conference in late March, early April. We renamed it from AI skills to data agents. And what that actually gives you is the option to build your own data agent based on data that you have in Fabric. So if you would like to expose an agent where in your customer service, for instance, could have a chat with data about service incidents or whatever customer service wants to work with, you can build an agent for that. And that can be used inside of Fabric, but you can actually also integrate it with Azure AI Foundry. And we are also coming with the integration to Microsoft Copilot Studio soon, so that you can integrate your data into Teams if you want that, and other solutions without having to do a lot of programming yourself. So that's probably an overlooked feature, and I think that is where we will see a lot of organizations gain some of the AI benefits and value easily. And then just coming back to this, I said the real-time intelligence is the newest feature in Fabric, which is not the truth. Is that we actually the newest feature is that we have SQL databases in Fabric. So we would like to get all the data capabilities in Fabric that you need to build your entire data platform. And in some cases, a lakehouse or warehouse is not suitable for smaller projects or for storing metadata or something. And in that case, you may want to use a SQL database. And we introduced the preview of SQL databases in Fabric at Ignite in November last year.
You mentioned that Fabric is software as a service or platform as a service? I was a little bit confused with that.
Yes. So Fabric is software as a service. So and software as a service is, yeah, you can also say that it's plug and play. So you sign up and then you start putting data into Fabric, and then you're ready to go. Of course, there are some things you can configure, and depending on the workload, there are different things you can configure. But basically, you just turn on the engine, and then you're ready to go. You don't have to worry about setting up networking, configuring storage account, and so on. And Fabric is built on Power BI, and Power BI is almost 10 years old. We'll be celebrating Power BI's 10-year birthday anniversary here in July, in a little more than a month. And Fabric is built on the same foundation as Power BI. And Power BI was new as a cloud service when that was released. So you don't need to install anything. You can just sign up and then put in data, and then you're ready to go. And that has been the same mantra for Fabric.
But now we can say that every organization that uses Power BI uses Fabric, right? To some extent.
Yes. So when we launched Fabric in May 2023, 2 years ago at our Build conference, overnight a Power BI tenant became a Fabric tenant, and that caused confusion for some organizations because this was a new thing. But it's important to state that Power BI exists, and we are not changing the core of Power BI. So if you are a customer who are not interested in using Fabric today or the next year, then you can continue to use Power BI like you have been doing for many years. At the same time, you need to be aware that some of the new capabilities we built related to Power BI are tied to Fabric. So, for instance, the Copilot capabilities, that is utilizing some Fabric capabilities. And a new thing we just released in public preview at Build a month ago is this concept or feature we call translytical task flow, which enables you to create write-back capabilities in a Power BI report with built-in visualizations. And that has not been possible before. And when you want to utilize that feature, then you will be utilizing a feature in Fabric called user data functions. So you can say that core Power BI still exists. The newer stuff, the more advanced stuff that is coming will be utilizing Fabric.
What's your advice for organizations which still have a lot of data in on-premise systems or databases, and they would like to use and leverage Fabric?
Yeah, so I will always advise saying that whenever you need to build something new, then you should look at, okay, how can Fabric benefit that solution? It's again one of these questions where the answer will likely be it depends. But I would never say that you should move everything from one day to the next day. You should take it in chunks and move it. And if you are on premises and it's still working, I mean, if it ain't broken, don't fix it, right? So don't change anything if it's serving the business needs that it does. But at the same time, all the AI features and all the more advanced stuff, that is becoming more and more difficult to do in on-premises environments. And in that case, you need to use capabilities like we offer in Fabric. And that is also why, coming back to this shortcut capabilities and mirroring capabilities, that if you have something, if you're running on a SQL server, for instance, you have your enterprise data warehouse on a SQL database in an on-premise environment, and you want to get that data into Fabric, then we now have mirroring capabilities for SQL Server on premises, so that you can configure this mirroring, and then data will automatically be replicated into Fabric. without you having to do anything else but setting up the mirroring. And then you can start utilizing the data in Fabric. So while you continue to run your existing environment, then you can build new and similar capabilities in Fabric. And my personal take on this, when someone asks me that, well, we have been running this solution for 5-10 years, and now we would like to do something else, and we would like to have these 10 reports that we have today, we would like to have them the exact same way in our new solution. That is something that I always advise against, because when you need to build something new, then you should really start from a blank piece of paper. And I mean, a lot of things has happened for all business the past 5-10 years, right? So you should actually consider what is our requirements today, and then build the solution on top of that, not based on the existing solution you have today, which in some cases are legacy, and you should build something completely new that actually satisfies the business requirements today.
Yeah, but still there can be a tricky point for a lot of companies, like maybe state government institutions or banks, or institutions similar to that, who need to meet the GDPR compliance, some data residency, etc. So how this is solved in Fabric when they really need to meet all these requirements?
Yeah, so if if there are requirements that you need to have the data in your own country or something. Mm-hmm. We do have Fabric in many countries around the world, but we don't have in all countries today. And in that case, that means that you may not be able to use Fabric 100%. But Fabric do have a lot of the certifications, the ISO and some of the SOC certifications, and so everything that exists in Azure either is already with Fabric or is coming to Fabric. So security and GDPR is a very high priority for us. Some of the things that like you may want to be able to secure your data so that it cannot be accessed from public internet and stuff like that. We already have some features, and we also have more features coming. So it is a high priority. You probably know that security, that's number one priority for Microsoft and has been for many years. And it's also a number one priority in Fabric. So when you go into the more technical areas where it's that software as a service, that's just plug and play. It is, but if you need to make sure that you stay within your own private network and so on, then there are different things you need to configure. And as I said, a number of the features are there today, and we are seeing more coming the coming month. So it is possible, but of course, Fabric is a cloud service. So if you need to have data in your own country physically, then Fabric is not the way to go.
Okay. Let's close this episode with the typical use cases that the companies use Fabric for.
Yeah, so again, there are many use cases. So it's hard to put one typical use case, but if you are, as we talked about, you have your existing solution on premises that has been running for 5-10 years, and you would like to move that to Fabric, then a lot of organizations, they say, okay, we have been using SQL for many years, and we have skilled people in SQL, but we also have we need to recruit new people from the universities, and today. It's been many years since I went to university, so but today they don't teach SQL at universities because that is that is legacy. That's not something that is
so they are forced to use new technologies regardless of their wishes, because the new people do not know them.
Yeah, so in universities they learn for instance Python and so on. So what we in many cases see is that you want to move from your let's call it legacy data platform to a mature data platform. And then they start using the lakehouse architecture. And depending on the skill set they have and how interested they are in attracting new people, then they will move to a lakehouse architecture where they are using notebooks to do transformations instead of SQL Server or stored procedures for transformations. And then the good thing about Fabric is that you can actually, on your lakehouse, you can use notebooks to communicate and transform data, but you can also use a SQL endpoint to query the data. So we do support all skill sets. And you can also have, if it's a lakehouse architecture, then we often talk about this medallion architecture from bronze, silver to gold. And maybe you want to have your gold layer as a real SQL warehouse instead of having it as a lakehouse. And that's an option. So there's no right or wrong solution. But so we give the options that is relevant for you. And that's probably what we see most. But again, I would also say most organizations are starting with some smaller projects to learn how can we actually do this. They don't go all in on Fabric from day one because that is a lot of work, and that's not what I would recommend. Especially start with maybe a POC or smaller projects, and then get that in production, and then you can start gradually moving the rest of your solution.
Thank you, Lars, so much for sharing your insights with us.
Yeah, thank you for having me.
This was Lars Andersen, Senior Program Manager at Microsoft, and Ivana Karhanova from Adastra is signing off.